All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pro Tabletop. If you're wondering what this video is, we're going to be breaking down the battle report that we played and we released the day before. This was Eldar versus Ultramarines. Those battle reports, they're super quick, like summaries. If you want to watch them full from top to bottom, get more of what's happening, the dice rolls and everything, watch for us to promote our live streams. We're going to be doing live streams every single week, and we're filming our kind of summary battle reports within that. And what we're going to really focus on is the list building aspect and then kind of the summary of how those lists are doing, because we think that that's what helps players the most rather than just kind of watching us roll dice, right?
That's right.
So,
well, we have all of it. So if you like to watch the dice rolling, we have that too.
Yeah, but you got to come watch us live, and you got to interact with us, talk with us. And so let's start with the Eldar list. The FAQ came out.
Yeah.
I did 30 Reaver bikes. I ran them as Ynnari because I wanted to try to give them a 5-up invuln to keep them alive and make them more durable.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the plan. The plan did not work. So Yvraine, you could say maybe she doesn't move fast enough to keep up with them, but it allows you to kind of keep the bikes back and safe, and then they can kind of jump in front of her. So I think the plan worked. You did not have my psychic power.
Yeah, the big problem is you pushed up to smite early on, and that kind of put you in denial range.
Yep.
And I blocked the invulnerable save, so that left the bikes kind of hanging out to dry. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of wounds to chew through. Like,
it is.
You took the cheap. They're only 10 points per guy if you don't upgrade them, which we'll talk about that in a second. And then running them as Ynnari, for the invulnerable save. I don't know.
It's not worth it. Like, I wanted to try, right? I was like, it could be really good because if I was to go first, and I'm outside of deny range, and I have 30 bikes that have 5-up invulns in front of you, that's a lot for you to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? So they could create a really good screen. They could move block really well. But after kind of seeing how the game played out and talking about it more, you definitely want to take them as Dark Eldar. You definitely want to be able to advance and charge with them. Because just moving 26 inches and being able to charge is amazing. And it is 100% worth the extra, if you're taking squads of 10 or squads of 12, it's worth the extra 5 points per bike or getting mortal wounds on 4-ups when they charge.
At least for one squad. I mean,
see, I'm crazy, and I would take it with all of them. And I would literally throw 30 bikes in your face, and I would say, here's 30 dice fishing for 4-ups.
I mean, you're going to do more wounds. That's no joke. That's a real problem. That's a lot of attacks that they're throwing out.
Yep. And then you either kill them or you don't, because then as Dark Eldar, you have the stratagem to back out, shoot, and charge again. It's like they can stay in combat if you live, back out, do the mortal wounds again. So like you're forced to deal with this thing, and if you're not dealing with them, they can just keep putting mortal wounds on them.
Yeah. You
don't care about the shooting. You don't care about anything. It's, for all those bikes, it's 400 points to your list. Like, they're going to bring a lot of value if you successfully use them once for mortal wounds. And just for, right, you can get engage on them. You can move block in that for 1 or 2 turns. And if they don't kill all the bikes, then you have small squads of pesky bikes running around hiding, just getting you secondaries.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? If you don't kill him to a man, like one bike moves so fast that he's behind a wall, holding an objective, doing engage, whatever, just being a pain, and you'll never track them down. So that's tough. The bikes are really good. I was scared about them.
Yeah. I think they're good. I think the list needs to be built around them a little bit more. I didn't fully build around them. I just wanted to try the bikes to see if they're worth it. I think the bikes are worth it, and I think it's something that I would like to give them the mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Build stuff around them. So yeah, I think they're really good. I mean, the single characters you could take in Dark Eldar for 15 points, and there's more. I just didn't have a model for it, so I was like, I don't know.
That's stupid. Like, so if you don't get the concept,
there's 3 characters.
Implication of that, right? The Dark Eldar court.
Yeah.
You get the Lhamean, you have the Slith, or whatever, the snake guy, and then the Urguls.
Yeah.
They're a unit, right? So when you take a single model unit, like, that's so powerful because it's super cheap, and it's just like, hey, look, I'm going to do deploy scramblers with this one guy. And it just sucks. So that
one, you take an Archon, they're free. They don't take up slots in your detachment.
Yeah, so it's just double down. Like, those guys are.
Yeah, so they're
have a little hall
really good
behind there. There's perfect objective campers because they're so tiny.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think that those aspects are good. Obviously, I misplaced Eldrad in that game.
Yeah, you got really aggressive, so it was interesting, but it kind of forced my hand. I had to kind of go all in on my
But you got to think, I know how you play.
Yeah.
You don't play aggressive, especially against me, right? So typically Thomas would sit behind the ruin in the middle again, but he came out turn 2, and I just wasn't expecting him to do it. So like I misplaced a little bit. Eldrad was too vulnerable.
Yeah. He put him up against the wall. I'm like, can Guilliman get there? And yes, he can. I'm like, how do I keep Guilliman from dying after he does this? Okay, let's make this happen.
Mistakes were made there. If I had him for another turn, Guilliman would have been dead, right? Guilliman would have 100% been dead the next turn, at least once, right? He would have died in the psychic phase. So mistakes were made there. Kabalite Warriors, obviously, Rax is the way to go. We just didn't have any. So like, if you're going to run stuff like this, running Rax right now, if you can run 120 man, if you can run 320 mans, it's going to give you a lot of durability and a lot of board control. We'll see when the new codex comes out.
Yeah,
what changes about that?
Do they keep the 4 and vulnerable save?
Right.
Do those points stay at 8 points a model?
Yeah.
I mean, they had 8 points a model at 4 before.
Yeah.
But like, it's so strong now.
Yes. If you're wondering why we didn't have that, I don't have 100 racks sitting around. Like nobody does. Like, let's be real with ourselves. So that's something that you can substitute in. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, because that's really the big thing. The Dark Reapers in the Wave Serpent. So I liked the Dark Reapers going into this before they could go in and out of a Wave Serpent. And now they're really strong, right? They survived until the last turn. Your list has a lot of shooting, has a lot of damage. It took a lot to get to them, chew through them. But they don't do enough. It's just flat out. -2 AP is not enough.
Yeah, when you told me that one turn that you didn't have the ignore cover, I was like, oh, game on, right? Because now this wall that is kind of in my way now is like my saving grace. I'm taking cover behind this little wall. Everybody's only taking 4 ups instead of
you got to take them with that. They've got to ignore cover. You have to get Jinx off.
Yeah.
And then I didn't use Doom or Guide once.
Yeah.
This whole game. And so like I was getting about half through without that, right?
Yeah, one transhuman on like a Marine squad screws up the map.
Yeah, you have to. You need. They rely on full rerolls. They rely on all the support. So you're dumping, 700 points into your list to support a single squad of shooting. It just doesn't pan out. What I can bring for those 450 points to just do way more than what they end up doing.
Yeah, in your previous list, you had a couple more characters, so you had a lot of smite.
Yeah, you had a lot more.
But this one, you're like, I need smite right now, and then you end up giving up all your support for those guys, and now they're just kind of a unit that's just kind of half-assed.
I definitely think that I do like the Wraith Seers a lot. If I had the Wraith Seers with this, and I was able to be more aggressive back at you in the mid, they would have done a lot better. They would have stayed a lot more harder to kill. They would have done better. I also think that obviously Harlequins are just so good right now, but I think you need to pair them with other elements. And if you find that perfect pair, I didn't need CP to start. I started with 5 CP. I spent 2. I had 3 CP going in.
I
had CP at the end of the game.
I was crazy. I'm like, you're like, I don't have enough to spend for redeploying. And I'm like, I redeployed because you put a Wave Serpent sticking out. He's like, oh, I got to redeploy.
Yeah.
And then you're like, still had CP.
So,
because I also killed all the things that used your CP, right? Eldrad died turn 2.
Yeah.
The clowns died turn 1.
Yeah.
And you have a couple clowns left, but not enough to really be useful. So once those went away, and I had to kill those things.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of starting to look at a basic patrol of Harlequins, 2 10-mans and the True Master. I think if I had that and I didn't have to be aggressive, I could be a little more passive with them to start off. I think that's a really good core. I love Eldrad. I love Yvraine. I think that they do. And I really like the Wraith Seers with them. So I think that I would go back to removing the Dark Reapers, coming back with the Wraith Seers.
Yeah, it's just when you get them in position to do that work, do they have support to not get counter punched or shot? And the Wraith Seers kind of give that to you, right? Yeah. The little guys, I use them as jumping.
And the Wraith Seers give me 2 more smites.
Yeah,
that gives me my smite battery, right? Now you're talking, 5 different elements that have multiple versions of smite on them. You're looking at 7, 8 versions of smite, what we talk about,
or random protect or whatever.
Right, you can do so many more things. And I really like that bubble. I like it to go in the middle of the board against most of my lists. I can't contest what you can throw in the middle of the board.
Yeah.
So I think as an Eldar player, I say this time and time again, Thomas's list is very, very hard for me to play against because he counters a lot of stuff that Eldar actually do very well. And he's built his list to do that because of how many times I beat him.
Yeah.
He's massaged his list to say, hey, if people are bringing Harlequins and those are a top list at a tournament, I want to make sure I can beat them.
Yeah.
Right. And I struggle the most against like your list. Like a lot of other Marine lists are really easy for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that a lot of people playing Marines like this. This list is very toolkit Ultramarine list. And so I specifically put every single unit with a lot of intention and a lot of thought.
But a lot of the other Marine lists I think are really easy for me to kill.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk for days about what I think about Marines and how I play them. But
that's the Eldar list. So there's good, there's bads. We're gonna tweak it next time. We'll have a different version of the list. So then we go into your list, Thomas. It's the first time we're really like breaking it down, talking about it. Tell everybody kind of why you are building your list like this and stuff.
Yeah, so for Marines, like, I struggled for a long, long time being able to be very mobile.
Mm-hmm.
How much do I sacrifice shooting to be mobile? Am I taking bikes? Am I taking Inceptors? Am I taking jump pack guys? Yep. What am I giving up shooting wise to take those fast elements? If I'm taking kind of a lot of bolterish type units, do I have something to kill a tank? And what is going to kill a tank in the Marine list, right? You have your Meltas. Where do you get Meltas at? Attack bikes, ATVs, Eradicators. You got Lascannons, Devastators, Grav guys.
Yep.
You got some vehicles, but again, vehicles are without core and the way Ultramarines work, and they can reroll everything with Guilliman. Like you want to maximize his.
Mm-hmm.
You're spending a lot of points on him. He's got to do full rerolls on everybody, so it's maximum power. And the vehicles are so expensive, you can't afford it.
And let's be real, vehicles tend to die very easy.
Yeah, so you have to have enough to kill the token vehicle.
Yeah.
But like if someone like overloads on vehicles, can you deal with that, right? And then the other end of that is if you're playing hordes, lots of orcs. So I've gone the spectrum where I tooled up with lots of tank killing stuff, and then orcs come in and just roll me up, and then I turn around and build lots of things to fight orcs, and then all these knights come in. I'm like, knights are terrible, except when you can't kill them, and they just keep punching you. So this is kind of the balance, and everything has different range bands. It's very character dependent. All the auras, you really rely a lot on the Victrix Guard.
I mean the bodyguard Victrix Guard.
That rule for a bodyguard keeps the characters
insane.
They just let you get really insane positioning with them without worrying about getting shot. So if you're not having any armies that have smite, they can just kind of run free reign. Guilliman just standing out front on the objective, Victrix behind a wall.
I know that's the only way I'm going to kill them by smiting them.
Yeah.
I know shooting them ain't going to do anything. I know fighting them ain't going to do anything. It's just not.
Yeah, so that's a key thing, right? So protecting that character bubble, the changes to while we stand really change how the secondaries I pick. So I really have to go more into, Oath of Moment or some of the other ones. I
mean, your list does very well in the middle board control. So this mission where you can double down on that is huge. And yes, I have a lot of things I could have thrown at you, but you eliminated them very early. You made it to where I couldn't move. You shut me down from being able to do that, right? So I didn't have enough to just keep throwing out.
Yeah, I couldn't let you piecemeal me. I had a few objective secured units, really not very many in the center. So I was like, I got to kill your troops. So when you put two of those little 5-mans out on the first kind of turn, I was like, ooh, I get 2 for 1 right here. And then that'll kind of keep you away for a couple turns. So that now I don't have to worry about one dude's toes stopping me from scoring that. And then since you picked that center too, it's all in to defend it.
It is, yeah.
And so me pushing in on that first turn, taking the fight to you, really was a calculated gamble, because if you're fighting me,
it could have gone either way, right? If my smites stayed alive, it could have gone in my favor. If my bikes got the inbone, it could have gone in my favor for another turn or two. It just depended.
It was all in, right? It's go time on turn 2.
And that's typically just my play style. I build lists around that. I play armies around that. I don't know how to play passive and sit in the corner. I don't have the patience for it. I like to just throw stuff.
Just give him a couple nuggets there, and then he'll just go. His eyes will get red, and he's like, go. So,
but a lot of the times it works out for us. A lot of them.
Give him that little juicy Grav squad. He came after him.
All right. Grav. I want the Hellblasters too.
So yeah, I haven't, like, after playing this list many times, I've won and lost games. I've never felt that this list doesn't have the tools to beat.
It's all just how you play the games and the different things that happen.
It's some nuanced movements that you have to really be tight on. But so far, I haven't found a reason to use Eradicators. I really dislike Eradicators. Inceptives, now that they've gone up in points, it's really, I think Hellblasters are better. They're just more wounds there. They're not toughness 5, but by the time you move in advance with them, they can shoot farther. And their AP is -4 base. So going to -5, that matters with some cover. If people have invulnerable saves, no, but it's like a 3-up save and cover.
Yeah.
They're going to have 6-ups versus -5, no saves. You're playing Custodes or something like that where they have 2-up saves. Like, you want everything you can to force that. I like the Hellblasters more than the Scepters.
I think they're way better.
And then in the points, when you finally come down to the points, I think the Hellblasters, even though they're pricey, end up being a little bit better buy.
Yeah. So I mean, you ran away with this game. It was close going into 3, and then turn 3, it's just like, okay, it's game over, right? Like,
once the characters fell, and I maintained, we just maintained points on the primary. I was just picking up secondaries.
Yeah, my screening just died too fast. My characters just it wasn't there. A lot of mistakes. It was a list I've never played. I didn't know how to play it. I didn't know how to position stuff. Right.
We're testing out the bikes.
It was very weird for me and a different stuff.
Well, I know now that if you tweak it to where those bikes have more wounds, it like changes everything.
It changes everything. Right?
I can't push up on you early.
You got to be away from me, right?
And then you could just come and attack me anywhere.
I can woo.
So I can
woo with more Harlequins.
I have to be like, do I have to take the litany of 5 up against more wounds, because like that's a lot of more wounds.
So I think the changes that I'll make is I'm going to lose the Craft Worlds for a test. I'm going to go half Dark Eldar, half Harlequins, basically. And I'm going to see how that fares. I think the best thing about Dark Eldars is their units are so cheap and so throwaway. They're really good for just bullying, secondaries, and move blocking. Yeah. Like, you don't care if they do anything.
You really don't, which is really hard for people to get if they're not playing a lot of games a ninth. And
then your Harlequins are there.
You don't have to kill anything. Like, you could just destroy somebody and not kill a single model.
Yep.
And when you say bully on secondaries, like, you got to understand what that means. If he's like 2 turns in, he's like maxed out 2 secondaries because of all his movement. Mm-hmm. You're like, I'm now down 30 points. Yep. Can I even come back, right? Like,
I mean, like, I got tabled basically in turn 4. I had 58 points.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, like, I was able to prevent your primary. And, like, if I had enough stuff and I was a little different, and I was able to deny you a little bit more primary, and, like, if those Rangers made the charge into the middle, that's a huge just point swing. It gains me 3 more, denies you 5 on the primary. It does a whole bunch of things. Yeah. So it's like there's very little things that if you play it correctly and a little different, it can just start at it, making the swing even closer.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't kill. I guess I killed a decent amount, but I should have done a lot more had I played it correctly. I did not play correctly, for sure. I just didn't.
I always make it difficult, right? So it's always kind of hard to go back and look and see, well, what I've done, because then I would just do something different too. Yeah. I think once that combat happened in the middle in Eldrad, it was kind of a conclusion. It was going to just see how much you could pick up.
I mean, I knew what needed to happen in the next turn. If I did what I said I needed to do the next turn, it would have evened out. Guilliman staying alive, though.
Yeah, Guilliman and the Hellblasters.
And the Hellblasters both stayed alive.
One dude stayed alive.
I know.
You split fire on those dudes. Dude, just shot them all the way.
Shit.
2 bolter guys. Scare those dudes. Those are Optic guys. They're Optic guys, though, so it wouldn't matter for the other stuff.
Basically, what I was trying to do in that situation when this fight happened in the middle is I was trying to shoot at the Hellblasters and the other guys, kill them both, then be able to take the Harlequins onto that objective. Yeah. Right? I was going to try to pile in and consolidate onto that objective to where then I take it from you with a single Harlequin model, because that would be another big point swing. So I was just trying to use that into there. Like, if Guilliman would have died, I would have been able to pile into the other guys. Like, there was like 10 things that could have happened different in that single turn.
Yeah.
And it all just went against me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's your list is super solid. We kind of use Thomas's list as the list to test against, because it gives us a really good solid foundation, because we know how it performs, how it plays, and everything like that.
Which is funny because a lot of the group around here absolutely says do not test against my list because
I think it's great to test.
You'll never see my list in any normal setting outside of here. And so, like, I mean, I guess if you could beat this, then you're good to go somewhere else. But like, you just had a different, different meta than we played.
I think that the play style that you have to play against a list like yours, at least for me, for what I play, my play style, Eldar and stuff like that. I think against a lot of things. I think that it is a hard play style to play against because your list is so versatile. Where when you go against a lot of other lists or factions, they're usually built in a very singular.
They have a very static. This is what my army does, right? I'm going to move these guys. They're going to charge on turn 1. I'm going to deep strike these guys, and they're like very static in what their plan is. And they got a couple things they can tweak, but that's what they do, right? Like it's just, can you stop me from charging in?
That's on.
Can you stop me from smiting? Can you stop my big units from shooting or destroy them? And if you have a plan for that, what do they do next, right? And so this list has everything. It's just a little bit of everything, and you know, you'll be charging with Devastators one turn, and then you'll be shooting tanks with bolter guys, and they can all do work on all those different areas. So.
Yeah, that's why I think it is very, because like your list is a bully list for the center of the board too, and in 9, if you can't really control that, you start to lose a lot of other things. So being able to find lists that have the good balance of shooting, have the good balance of combat, have the good balance of throwaway units is super important, and your list does that. And I think the hardest thing about your list is how much shooting it has. It doesn't look like it on paper, but when you get shot with it, you just physically can't make the amount of saves that go through with re-rolling everything.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of lists struggle. So you have to play around that. You have to be able to attack and defend at the right moments.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I've seen with Dark Eldar is they have a lot of board control, a lot of presence early, and then it's just, can they survive and have enough models at the end of the game? They're not really threatening or doing a lot of damage. Now with the points decrease, they're even more so. So I mean, now with the bikes being as cheap as they are, if that stays that way, I don't know when the new book's coming. They're just so fast. I mean, they move 18 with an auto 8 advance, right?
Yeah. And they can charge.
And they can charge. Like, take away whatever mortal wounds. Like, that's a lot of space. You're like, it's crazy. So just
it's even crazier to think of, like, pair that, just to end on this, pair that with Shining Spears that can move, advance, double move, and charge. Pair that with Harlequin bikes or a 10-man that can move, advance, double move, charge.
Yeah.
And imagine how much stuff
could just be in
your face in a single turn. And you like, woof. Now it takes a lot of commitment to do that, but like a lot of players and a lot of lists don't know what to do in those situations.
Yeah. If you're like, yes.
He knows what to do because I do it.
He's done it so many times. Like,
he knows how to
figure out a way, or you're just gonna lose everything.
Yeah. So now I have to figure out how to play different.
If you have 1,600 points fighting and touching everything, and then like you get 200 points hiding in the back, and then you get another 200 points ready to jump in for more round 2. Like, is your army mobile enough to redeploy? Can they fight their way out of that? Can they shoot their way out of that and not be down on the primary for 3 turns?
Because that's all you have to do is hold them for 3 turns on the primary.
And you won.
And you win.
You won. Now with the end of the game, it didn't really come into play here since you didn't have any models left, but the scoring on the end of the turn, like that lets you gain some momentum back. Like if you're able to shoot and kill on the last turn, pick up 15, but you still got to look at it. Like, is an extra 15 gonna make the difference if you got full primary? But
no, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, good game and everything like that. Obviously, if you guys are watching this, you can watch the quick summary battle report that we released before this one, and then every week. Stay tuned for us to put out the schedule for what we're going to be streaming
live.
Next week, though,
we're going to have Space Wolves.
Is going to be Space Wolves versus Ultramarine. Jamie is going to be here. He's back in country playing against you. So we will kick off our live streams with that. That'll be taking place Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
That's right. So we'll look forward to seeing you then. We'll see if Guilliman in the game can win against some Space Wolves.
Yep.
And if you love my list or hate it, let me know in the comments. If you like Brad's list or you think he should have took some racks, let us know.
I just don't have them. I got proxy.
We could get some racks. I just can't wait to see what the Dark Eldar book does with those.
If you can give me 100 racks, I'll play 100 racks.
I think we have 30 active in there. But all right. Until next time, thanks, guys, and we'll see you.
Thanks.